In July of 1518, a woman stepped into a narrow street in Strasbourg and began to dance. There was no music, there was no celebration. For 6 days, she didn't stop, not to eat, not to sleep, and not even when her feet began to bleed through her shoes. By the end of the month, 400 people had joined her. They weren't partying, they were dying. This is the story of the dancing plague, the month a city danced itself to death. To understand the madness that gripped Strasbourg, you must first understand the misery of the era. The summer of 1518 was suffocating. Famine had ravaged the countryside, diseases were rampant, and the people were starving. The city was a powder keg of human desperation. It started with just one spark, Frau Trophäa. When she began her silent, frantic twisting in the street, her neighbors thought she had lost her mind. Her husband begged her to stop, but her eyes were glazed over. Her body moved as if controlled by an invisible puppeteer. She danced until she collapsed in a heap of exhaustion, her muscles twitching in the mud. But the moment she regained consciousness, she stood right back up, and the relentless rhythm consumed her again. Within a week, 34 others had been infected by the compulsion. They poured out of their homes, their arms flailing, their chests heaving, joining a grotesque human carousel in the center of the city. The city council was terrified. They consulted local physicians who confidently declared the cause was hot blood. Their prescribed cure? The afflicted just needed to dance it out. In an act of profound historical irony, the authorities actually enabled the plague. They cleared out the guild halls, built a massive wooden stage in the market square, and hired professional musicians, drummers and pipers, to keep the tempo going day and night. But the music didn't cure them. It trapped them. The relentless beating of the drums pushed the dancers harder. Soon the summer heat and physical exertion took their toll. People began clutching their chests and dropping dead on the stage from heart attacks, strokes, and sheer, catastrophic exhaustion. As the death toll climbed to 15 people a day, the city council realized their catastrophic mistake. They banned the music. They banned public dancing entirely, but the afflicted couldn't stop. Panic shifted to religious terror. The priests declared this wasn't a medical issue. It was a divine curse. They believed the city had angered St. Vitus, a martyred saint who was said to possess the power to curse sinners with compulsive dancing. Desperate to appease the wrathful saint, the authorities rounded up the bleeding, thrashing survivors. They forced them into wagons and dragged them to a shrine in the mountains. There, they were given small crosses and forced to wear bright red shoes, shoes splashed with holy water and painted with the blood of a freshly slaughtered pig. Only then, after weeks of relentless agony, did the madness finally begin to break. So what really happened in Strasbourg? Modern science offers two chilling theories. The first is ergotism. Ergot is a toxic mold that grows on damp rye stalks. When baked into bread, it produces spasms, reduced blood flow, and intense hallucinations. It is, chemically speaking, a medieval version of LSD. The starving peasants of Strasbourg may have been poisoned by their own food, trapped in a waking, twitching nightmare. But the second theory is even darker: mass psychogenic illness. The human mind can only endure so much trauma. Faced with starvation, disease, and the crushing weight of extreme religious guilt, the collective psyche of the city simply snapped. Frau Trophäa's breakdown acted as a psychological contagion, triggering a mass hysterical trance that overrode the human body's instinct to survive. By September, the dancing plague had vanished as mysteriously as it arrived, leaving behind hundreds of corpses and a terrified city. It stands as a terrifying reminder that sometimes the most dangerous pathogen isn't a virus or a bacteria. It is the human mind itself. I'm your host for Imperium of Dust. If you enjoyed this descent into the macabre, hit subscribe. But before you go, let's see if you were paying attention. What was the prescribed cure that the city council initially used to try and stop the dancers? A. Holy water. B. Leeches. C. Building a stage and hiring musicians. D. Locking them in the church.